My girlfriend's mom and I got lost in a snowstorm, she said. Don't tell my daughter about tonight. The night she looked at me with trembling eyes and whispered, don't tell my daughter about tonight. I felt something inside me crack, not because of what she meant, but because of what we had both just survived. If you believe in kindness, forgiveness, and second chances, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Stories like this remind us that sometimes life tests us in ways we never expect. The storm came out of nowhere. One moment, the sky was a dull gray as we drove through the mountain road, and the next, it turned into a blinding wall of white. Snow slammed against the windshield like a warning from nature itself. I tightened my grip on the steering wheel, my heartbeat matching the erratic rhythm of the wipers, struggling to keep up. I wasn't supposed to be there that night. I was just driving my girlfriend's mother back from a small-town visit, a simple favor that had turned into something much bigger than I could have imagined. She sat quietly beside me, her hands folded tightly in her lap, her gaze fixed on the road ahead as if she could somehow calm the storm with sheer will. But nature doesn't listen. Within minutes, visibility dropped to almost nothing. The road disappeared beneath layers of fresh snow, and the car began to skid. I tried to stay calm, tried to remember every bit of advice about driving in harsh weather, but fear crept in like the cold seeping through the cracks of the car. Then the engine sputtered. That sound, the sudden loss of control, echoed louder than the storm outside. The car jerked once, twice, and then came to a dead stop. Silence filled the inside, broken only by the howl of wind outside. We were stranded. At first, we tried to stay inside, hoping the storm would pass quickly. But minutes turned into an hour, and the cold began to bite harder. The heater died with the engine, and the windows slowly frosted over, trapping us in a frozen bubble. That's when she suggested we leave the car. It felt like a bad idea, but staying meant freezing. So we stepped out into the storm, immediately swallowed by the harsh wind and snow. It felt like walking into a wall of ice. Every step was a struggle, every breath sharp and painful. We didn't know where we were going. We just walked, time lost meaning in that white chaos. My fingers went numb despite my gloves, and I could see her struggling to keep up. She wasn't used to this kind of weather, this kind of fight for survival. But she didn't complain. Not once. Then through the storm I saw it, a small wooden cabin barely visible behind layers of snow and trees, like something forgotten by the world. It felt unreal, like a mirage, but it was there, hope. We pushed toward it with whatever strength we had left. The door was stiff, frozen, almost shut, but after a few attempts it creaked open. Inside it was dark, cold, and empty, but it was shelter. I found some old firewood stacked in a corner and managed to light a fire after several frustrating attempts. When the flames finally flickered to life, it felt like we had won a battle against death itself. She stood near the fire, her body trembling, not just from the cold, but from everything we had just endured. Her usual composed, confident presence was gone, replaced by something raw and human. For the first time I saw her not as my girlfriend's mother, but as a person who was just as scared as I was. We didn't speak much at first. The silence between us wasn't awkward, it was heavy, filled with unspoken thoughts and emotions. The fire crackled softly, casting warm light across the wooden walls, a stark contrast to the raging storm outside. Hours passed. Slowly the warmth returned to our bodies, but something else settled in the air, a quiet understanding. We had faced something terrifying together, something that stripped away all pretenses. At one point she looked at me, really looked at me, as if seeing me for the first time, and that's when she said it. Tell my daughter about tonight. Wasn't what she said that shook me, it was how she said it. There was no guilt in her voice, no hidden meaning, just vulnerability. Because this night wasn't about something wrong, it was about something real. She didn't want her daughter to know how close we had come to not making it. She didn't want her to carry that fear, that image of her mother lost and helpless in a storm. And in that moment I understood. The rest of the night passed in a strange calm. We talked, really talked for the first time, not about surface-level things, but about life, regrets, choices, and the quiet sacrifices people make for those they love. She told me about her past, about the struggles she had faced raising her daughter, about the strength it took to keep going even when everything felt like it was falling apart. And I listened, because sometimes listening is the most powerful thing you can do. By the time the storm began to fade, something inside me had changed. Morning came slowly. The storm had passed, leaving behind a silent, frozen world. The sky was clear, almost peaceful, as if nothing had happened. Rescue came a few hours later. A search team found us and guided us back to safety. Everything returned to normal, or at least it looked that way on the outside. But inside I wasn't the same. I couldn't forget that night, not the fear, not the struggle, and not the quiet strength I had witnessed. When I saw my girlfriend again, she hugged me tightly, relieved.